Hello, friends and fellow board gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Board Games with Rob. Now, today I'm going to be taking a look at a game that I picked up at Gen Con 2024, and it is Pirates of Maracaibo. Um, it's by Capstone Games, and it was one that I was a little hesitant to get. I was not a huge fan of Maracaibo, but I was told this was streamlined and it had the Pirates theme, which I'm really into. And what really attracted me is they had this mat. And I'm not usually a big, I don't know if this will focus on the mat. I'm not usually a big mat fan, but this game, Pirates of Maracaibo, the map is actually cards. And I tend to sleeve my cards. So imagine, I think there's 22 some odd cards, 22, 23, 20 some odd cards that are all laid out in a particular pattern. And as you can imagine, they slip and slide even without sleeves. They're going to slip and slide all over the place. So this mat provides a good grip, and they don't slide nearly as much. So I picked it up, and I'm really happy I did. I designed an insert for it, and actually the mat folds really nice, and there's plenty of room for it within the box. So let's take a look at what BGG has to say about it. The average rating is an 8.0. That's really good. And let's see, dice rolling, multi-use cards, piece play, yeah, race. Yeah, you're right. You're racing across a map and you're getting victory points. It's a Pfister game. You've got 3 rounds, and everybody has their own ship that you're going to be placing out on the map and racing across said map. Let's take a look at here's a typical setup of the game. And so you'll have, like I said, these are about 22 some odd cards. You've got like location cards, you've got residences, upgrade cards, and then there's these treasure card. Well, they say they're cards, but there's 3 of them. They're treasure islands. They are the 3 cardboard pieces up here in the upper left, in the upper right, and then right kind of in the center. They're cardboard, and it's a place to put the treasure cubes. You've got emerald cubes, and you've got gold and pearl are the 3 different types of treasures that you'll be collecting. So yeah, the game is 3 rounds, and each round is comprised of racing from the left side of the map all the way to the right. The right, you'll hit the shoreline, which is another board you see out there, and next to the coastal region is Maracaibo. Once you hit the coast, that triggers the end of the round. You reset, and then you begin a second round. And then once everybody makes the third, it ends, and you have endgame scoring. So what are the variety of different ways that you get points? Again, it's a victory point salad game. Here's a good close up. Looks like they got some upgraded chips there too. But you've got some of the cards, and you've got a variety of different. Again, in typical Euro game, you've got some of these cards you'll get immediate effects. If you look at the beige bannered ship cards, I think that's an upgrade card. You'll get to be able to take what's in this case called a raid action, and that is really cool, guys. I'll explain that. Let's table that. I'll come back to raid. That's one of the coolest things I like about the game is taking that action. And then there's different ways of getting victory points or coins during an income or a victory point phase at the end between rounds. You've got end game scoring cards, and then you've got permanent upgrade cards that you'll put by your ship, which I'll show you here in a second, that will give you powers throughout the game. So again, the map is all just cards and placed next to each other, with each card giving you some action that you can take. You can, on each of your turns, your ship can travel 1 to 3 spaces. The only rule being is that if you think of this as like a grid with a bunch of columns, you have to have finished in a column further along than where you started. So you can move up and down, and but you have to have traversed closer to Maracaibo is the only rules, and you have to just travel 1 to 3 spaces. Yeah, here's okay. So here's a player setup, and each player will have two boards. You have your little treasure board, and you will have your ship board. And the treasure board is where you're going to be storing, well, your treasure, your gold, your emerald, and your pearls. And there's this sense of finding treasure, and which is good. But then you can take actions to bury your treasure, which will get you more victory points. And that's where you'll uh, you'll bury that. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but you'll bury it on the bottom side of the card. So let's yeah, here's again some of these cards laid out. They're really gorgeous cards too. The artwork in here is really good. Um, some more. What I really wanted to show you, and I might have to look at the rule book. Um, let's go. Actually, I'll pull up the rule book right here. And this again, it's icon heavy, but a lot of it is some of it you'll wind up having to take a look at, but a lot of it you'll get after you start playing the game. But you have this concept of taking a raid action, and it's kind of like a point a you have an allocated amount of points to spend. So when you take say a raid action of say 8, well, you have 8 points and you have a variety of different things that you can spend those 8 points on. For example, it might take 3 of those points and you can get a treasure or maybe a victory point. Let's see if we go through here. I think there's 3, or I think it might even be on the player board itself where it shows you some of those different default actions that you can take. But yeah, and what's neat is you will get upgrades to your ship to allow you to get even more points. And then at some times what you'll have to do is you won't be, in fact, most of the time, you're not given a set allocation of points. You have to roll a die, and there are 3 dice in the game. There's a yellow, a red, a yellow, a white, and a green representing the 3 treasures. And so depending upon the die that you roll will provide you the type of treasure that you may get. So for example, let's say that you really want pearl. So you roll the white die and you roll the white die and let's say you get a 3, which allows you to get a treasure. Well, it has to be pearl because you rolled the white die. Actually, what you'll be doing most of the time is rolling all 3 and then choosing one of the 3 die that you want to use. And so you'll have a decision to make, right? So you might have, maybe you really want pearl, but you only rolled a 3 or a 2. And I'm making these numbers up in my head because it's been a week or 2 since I played the game. But maybe you got like the yellow die scored a 6, and you can get a lot of different actions because they're all about taking treasures. There's different actions that you have with spending those points. So there's some pretty interesting actions that you'll wind up taking just based upon those die roll that are very interesting. Yeah, here's the your treasure board, and here's where anything above the line are your treasures, and then you can bury them and put them below, representing you by looking by anything underneath the shovel there. So the other thing, another way of getting points and items throughout the game is going on these journey. I say journey, and I keep thinking of Darwin's Journey, which is another one of my favorite games, which has this idea of moving your little traveler around. In Pirates of Maracaibo, you have a little dude right here that you'll put on the map and traverse, but you will that's one of the actions you'll be able to take on the island is investigating the island, and that's pretty much moving X amount of spaces across the board, and there'll be people here, and if you jump over somebody, then you get to move an extra space. You don't count that space that you moved over them, and you don't have any repercussions, or it's really not a take that game at all. In fact, another thing I like about it is as you're sailing on the map, You can land and you're not prohibited from landing on a card that another player is in. There's no sense of attacking them, though, which is good. For me, anyway, you wind up just giving each person that's in that location a doubloon if you have it, a coin. So the rating action is really just rating you're rating the city, the location, and it's not a sense of like rating each other or attacking each other, which I like about. I'm not a big take that person. So if you're into a Euro with a bunch of different actions, a pirate theme, and not a lot of take that. And it's not a long game. I think Maracaibo was a fairly long game, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Pirates was maybe an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, maybe with a teach in there. And I think that was maybe at a 2 or 3 player count. It's only 3 rounds, and it'll go pretty fast, especially once everybody knows what they're doing. So it's a Pfister game, Alexander Pfister, and it's a game that I really enjoy. I would rate this high. This would probably be about an 8 for myself as well, between an 8 and an 8.5. Although I like, heavy Euro games. So yeah, this is one that I'm really looking forward to demoing this week and bringing to the table. And I want to wish all of you a very good evening. It is January 21st, the evening, and it's very cold outside. I live in Kansas City, so hopefully we'll be getting some warm weather fairly soon. Have a good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining me. I wish you the best. Bye.